Try again. Good evening, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Welcome, Analog. Glad you could make it live. Appreciate everyone tuning in on a slightly different night tonight. My schedule this week was a little weird, so we had to bump it to Tuesday. Couple changes to the stream. First of all, tonight we actually don't have any Hero League. We have two Team League games. Both are 3 stacks. And when I started doing the stream, it was really to focus on bronze and silver level players, kind of really teach real basic stuff and help people who felt like they were stuck at that level climb up the ladder a little bit. But today's team leagues are a little bit higher. We're gold and gold plat. And the other change we're going to do is when we watch these replays, we're actually going to watch them with the vision of the good guys who we happen to be working with that game. Because as we did these, especially the bronze and silver replays, I found a lot of the players would benefit a lot from learning how to interpret the mini-map. So we're going to try to do that in real time during the game to get as much information possible by paying attention to the mini-map and trying to learn those good habits to make sure we don't get caught out and ganked, or to make sure we can do intelligent invasions when appropriate, or anything else we can do to pressure the map and take advantage of the information gained from the minimap. So without further ado, our first game, like I said, is going to be a gold Team League game. It's going to be a 3 stack. And let me pull up the email because sometimes there's good info in there. It will be on Haunted Mines, and I believe that this one is our Cho'Gall game. And it is Nashable and Penguin on Cho'Gall, so Penable. And then I believe Morales was their third. And let's find out what he said here. Decided Cho'Gall and Haunted Mines, never enter the mines, playing goal and shotgunning. Okay, great. So this is actually kind of reflects on an issue I have with Haunted Mines. It's fell to, I would say, my second least favorite map, just because you can play the map without playing the map. If the other team doesn't respond appropriately, you don't even need to go down in the mines. We were playing last night with the guys I normally play with, and we literally didn't go down into the mines until we had eliminated both keeps and both forts. We just completely ignored the objective until there were no buildings left on the map. So you can definitely try some different things here. Cho'Gall is... Oh my goodness, as usual, every time we load into a replay, the volume is crazy high. Please let me know if the volume is good relative to my voice. Cho'Gall is an interesting hero because he has a number of hard counters. Anybody who does percentage-based damage, Leorix, Drain Hope, any of the giant killers. And in this game, there's 2 on the other team, and that's Tychus and Raynor, and that's because of their percentage-based damage. So Cho'Gall and Conrad on Morales are our 3 stack. Watching Team League is a little different than Hero League, because Hero League you're in there with 4 randos. The only way you can really communicate with anybody is through pinging and typing, and really you shouldn't be typing too much. It just takes too much time. So Team League, though, especially when you're the 3, if you're in a 5 stack with comms, obviously it's great, but even as a 3 stack, I assume these guys are on comms with each other, and as the 3 stack, you hope you have the gravity to pull the rest of the team with you where you want to go. And in this case, if you're Cho'Gall and Morales, the other 2 guys almost don't have any choice to kind of go where Cho'Gall is going, because there's such a huge part of what red team is going to do here. Let's get on Cho'Gall's vision here. There we go. And the other interesting thing I notice for the good guys this game, the red team, the Cho'Gall team, is that other than their Morales, they have all melee heroes. So hopefully that will allow Morales to really just sit on the back line and put out that healing beam. Let's see how this goes. This will be a interesting game. So sending Samuro to the top lane. Ideally, I would like Thrall in the top lane. Thrall is kind of one of the creme de la creme of the solo laners. Samuro is not bad at it, just Thrall is better at it. So of course, when we have, I'm even going to lower the volume a little bit more. I feel like it's a little high. In this particular comp, it's really incumbent upon Cho'Gall to make sure Conrad on Morales stays safe. With an Alarak, with an Alarak and an Anubarak, that's pretty divey. Even Rhaegar in pursuit. So you really want to make sure you put yourself in a position to eat some of those dives and make sure Morales stays out of trouble. What Samuro is going to give on this map, he even said that they're not even going to go down in the mines, which is fantastic. So if you're going to adopt that strategy with this particular team comp, I think the best way to do that is you send Thrall to the top. You have Cho'Gall and Morales handle this bottom lane. Yeah, I just turned it down, Tythel. Let me know if that works a little bit better. Thrall at the top, Cho'Gall, Morales in the bottom, and then you let Samuro go out there and Merc. Mercs, you get a ton of value out of Mercs on Haunted Mines, and Cho'Gall is a really good jungler to capture those Merc camps. So I think that would be the ideal setup for the Cho'Gall comp here. See, that's what you want to punish that Anubarak for when he dives in there on that. And anytime you're playing Anubarak, you really want to check what he takes at level 1. And he took that Dampen Magic, so that you'll really notice that as a spellcaster if you're trying to put damage into Anubarak. So keep that in mind. Try not to burn a bunch of high damage spells on Anubarak with his Dampen Magic. That'll really, you can really waste a lot of high resource spells dumping damage onto Anubarak that's not going to stick. So far, blue team has not seemed to know how to deal with the Cho'Gall. Cho'Gall Morales can be particularly annoying. Thank you, Troy. We turned it down again. Let me know how that works. So far what our 3-stack here is doing is being very effective. They're putting a lot of pressure on this bottom lane. Although, nice, okay, I was just going to tell Nashable to back up there, and they did it anyway. Always want to make sure you're protecting your Morales. That's your bread and butter there. If they can't get to that Morales, you're going to be in really good shape. See, now this is the interesting thing about the map. You guys said on the email, we know that our 3-stack is not going to go on the bottom, although there they go and come back up. So it'll be interesting to see if their teammates follow their lead. Samuro and Thrall are already down in the bottom, and our Cho'Gall and our Morales are going to go Merc, I would guess. Now what I would like to see is Morales doesn't really contribute anything to getting these Mercs, and if you're going to stay up here, you might as well get the soak. I would like to see Morales somewhere back here just safely soaking the lane while Cho'Gall is getting the camp, because I don't think you're close enough to soak this lane right here. That's too far, which means you're missing any soak down here. So I'd like to see Morales come down here and soak. This is always the Thrall's getting salty. This is always the danger of doing a kind of a different strategy, something that's not kind of within the meta, what's the generally accepted strategy. is you always worry about tilting your teammates if they're not on board. But see, the issue that I see over here, and this is a viable strategy, is all of the missed soak while you guys are staying up here. I think Morales could have stayed in lane and safely soaked while Cho'Gall murked. Something to think about. Now the reason this is safe is because of how many, is what we see here, right? Remember we said in the, before we started this, that we're going to try to translate minimap information into decision making. That's why getting the siege camp is safe, because the enemy team is completely accounted for. Now, same thing, enemy team is completely accounted for, except they could theoretically be, okay, they are coming out here. So if you were to go to this other camp, you need to make sure you don't blunder into the entire enemy team. There you go. So you can see what ignoring the bottom, and this is what I alluded to in the beginning. This is my issue with Haunted Mines. So by completely ignoring the objective, our team, the good guys, Cho'Gall and Morales are in a 3-stack team league. They sent this in. By completely ignoring the skulls and pushing with mercs instead, they've gotten both top and bottom keep. So what we're going to do is, after both golems have spawned and been defended, we're going to look at which team is in a better spot. And we're going to take a look and see which was better. Was it better to go for the objective, or was it better just to say, to hell with it, and then let's get these mercs and push these lanes in. Now this, though, Samuro and Thrall need to have realized by now that you guys aren't coming, and they really shouldn't be down here, because that's just a bad place for them to be. They're fighting 5-on-2. That's something that's not going to go particularly well. So hopefully at this point your teammates realize you're not coming down there, and they leave. Otherwise they're just going to die. And if you find yourself in the situation that our Thrall and our Samuro are in, which is your teammates is not going to the objective, I mean, you can't contest that 2-on-5, so find something else productive to do. And that's what we hope our Thrall and our Samuro do right here, is they realize that Cho'Gall and Medic aren't coming, and then they go do something else. So now, so far, by completely ignoring the skulls, they've gotten the top wall and the bottom fort, and the skulls are still sitting down there, and we have about a full level lead. So this strategy is paying off thus far. And then you guys are going to collapse onto Alarak, but without lockdown, he's probably going to get away unless he... And this, as Alarak, is just something you don't want to do. You're 1-on-3, right? Why even fight? Just leave. It's not like Cho'Gall can lock you down, really. Yeah, so that was an avoidable death from Alarak's end. The other thing to keep in mind is they chose the correct lane to do this in, because this is where the golem will spawn. Even if it's a weak one, it's only 38 skulls, it's going to spawn and be working on this keep wall already. So now you guys have to decide whether you want to defend or attack, and I'll be honest, I don't think either one is a bad decision, and I'll tell you why. If you choose to push with your golem, you're essentially allowing the opposition golem to push, and you're trading keep pressure for fort pressure. Anytime you can trade keep pressure for fort pressure, that's an advantage for whichever team is getting the keep pressure. Keeps are more valuable than forts because they spawn the catapults. Choosing to defend here and keeping all of your buildings up isn't a bad idea either, especially if that's what your teammates are doing. So I don't think neither is necessarily wrong. We're in a nice to be in a win-win situation here. If it were me, I would probably push with the golem. We have a talent tier advantage. Oh, my bad. I did it. That's my fault. I did that backwards. I'm so used to seeing blue as the friendly team, but sometime in the observer it's backwards. So ignore everything I said about pushing with the golem, because the good golem is actually in the top lane. So in retrospect, Cho'Gall probably should have pushed in the top lane rather than the bottom, because that's where their golem was going to spawn. So if you can prioritize the lane where bosses are, is always better. So it's not a big deal. But if they would have done to top lane what we did to bottom lane down here, which is fantastic, they would have this golem marching on the keep already. And in this case, it's absolutely the right decision to defend, because their golem is stronger, and it's a fort for a fort, not a keep. So defending is the right choice. And so far this game, Morales has really not been under any pressure, and that's a combination of Cho'Gall and Thrall, because he's been down here with them mostly. Cho'Gall and Thrall making sure they're watching him, and also the blue team has not prioritized getting on that Morales at all. Cho'Gall gets especially difficult if he starts getting up a level or two. Then he gets really tough to deal with. Alright, so we said after the golems were done, we were going to stop and replay the map. So, red team, the good guys, our heroes today, Penable and Conrad, opted to basically completely ignore the skulls and just push. And in return, they are up about a level and a third, and they've eliminated 2 of blue team's forts. Blue team opted to take a more traditional approach, go down there for the skulls. They didn't leave anybody in the lane for soaking or anything like that. And even though they had a 62 to 38 golem, both of red team's forts are still standing. The only thing they got out of it is a wall, and now they're at a disadvantage. So keep these things in mind when you play Haunted Mines. There is certainly an argument to be made that the better plan is almost to ignore the skulls. So keep that in mind. I'm not saying it is, but if you get the team on the same page, you can definitely make that strategy work in the right situation. See, now they're trying to get to Morales, but too deep, and yeah, Anubarak certainly can't stay in there. Blue team is going to have a problem being down in level and not really having the tools to isolate out Morales. If I'm Alarak, I consider Cocoon, maybe, to Cocoon Morales in the middle of a team fight if they could do it. That might be an answer. And this is utilizing the mini-map, right? You saw that Raynor was overextended, and this should be a free pick here. Nice grenade by Conrad. Hopefully Thrall lands the root, and he does, and that's a great pick on Raynor. So now, even though Samuro and Thrall, who are not in the party with us, they're the 2-stack to our 3-stack, seem to be not on the same page. This team is really gelling nicely. They're running around as a 5-stack. Little things. If I have time at the end of the stream, I'll show you why this is important. But anytime you're at an objective or a merc camp, make sure your squishies are on the safe side. So Morales should be over here. That way, if blue team were to initiate, they don't hit medic first. They hit the beefy characters first, and Morales is over here on the safe side. My chair league team did not do this, and when I watched the replay to find out what we could work on, we had a perfect example of how not to do this. And if I have time, I'll pull it up and show you guys afterwards, so you can see why that is important sometimes. So now with level 10 advantage, I would really like to see them put some pressure down somewhere. Top or bottom, doesn't matter, but group is 5, and let's see if you can really put a lot of pressure on the blue team here. Nice root from Thrall, and a nice grenade. That's an excellent Cho'Gall ult and a good Earthquake. Good engage all around. Really nice usage of those Wombo-y. Now your guys' goal here is to get this keep. If you can get the keep, then you leave. But if you get pushed back, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with retreating. Although you still have the 10 advantage and they don't. So you can bring these mercs or the minion wave in with you if you want. Certainly better to leave too early than stay too long. So now going back to the mercs, that's been working for you all game. No reason to stop now. Samuro did go down to get the skulls in the bottom, as did Thrall. So now the other team has... So now this is what you need to be aware of. The other team got their heroics, and Anubarak went Cocoon. If I am blue team, Morales is probably my Cocoon target, or it could be Cho'Gall too. You could do it to Cho'Gall. However, whoever does it, you really want to be aware of it, and keep in mind that that Cocoon can be attacked to free whichever hero is trapped in it. So if Anubarak manages to get a really good Cocoon on a key hero, you want to turn on that thing to burn through it and free whoever's in there. See? That's an excellent Cocoon by Anubarak right there. And now Morales is in a world of trouble. Great job by Mojo on Anubarak there. Now Cho'Gall's still 2 levels up, so I would hope he would be able to get out of this, but you certainly don't want to be fighting any 3-on-2s. See, now that's unfortunate because basically they got no value out of that heroic. However, Thrall and Samuro did work down at the bottom while Anubarak or Cho'Gall was keeping everybody busy, and then blue team went and cleaned up. So I'm sure Nashable on on Gall would have not used that heroic if he could go back and do it. It happens. We all have those moments where we could take that ability back. See, now this is a dangerous invasion because you only know where Raynor is. If we see these skulls going up, we know they're at the bottom, so we can watch that. But see, now Tychus is showing, Raynor's down here. You have to assume that the other team is nearby. You reading Tychus's body language, he's behaving very aggressively. Because we only have our own vision here. If I were on either Morales or Cho'Gall, just by Tychus's body language, I would assume he has help nearby. Okay, now he doesn't. Once he's left like that, now he doesn't have help nearby. But they know you're there. So you guys need to be very careful. With no enemy showing on the map, this is a very aggressive decision. Same thing, right? I highlighted that Cocoon, right? It's such a difference. And they opted to not do it to Morales. They opted to do it to Cho'Gall and blow up Morales, and now Cho'Gall's probably going to get body blocked to death here. Nice job by blue team. So blue team, wow, what a bloodbath. Both teams just cleaning up on each other. Something to be aware of is these giants actually do decent damage, so don't underestimate those. Nice job by Samura. So now if we're our 3 stack here, Conrad and Nashable and is it Penguin? Yeah. So now twice we've had an engagement that was 3-on-3, and they simply cocooned Cho'Gall and blew up Morales. So now we need to make an adjustment on that, and you guys probably should try to stay more with Thrall or somebody else to avoid that.
There are always more skulls to be had.
Because that's twice that they've used that cocoon on you guys to really devastating effect. So we want to try to make an adjustment now to not let that happen again. See, now this time they did it on Morales. And I like what Penable's doing. Remember, I said you gotta free him. And now freed Morales is gonna save Thrall. So Cho'Gall actually saved Thrall there by getting Morales out of the cocoon. What a scattered engagement. So, one of the weaknesses... That's a good question, Analog. I do not know if Cleanse works on Cocoon. I don't know the answer to that. I will have to make a note of that, and I'm going to check it out. I will find out the answer, and I will answer that next stream. One of the disadvantages to a Cho'Gall composition, especially with like a Cho'Gall and a Samuro, is the only hard CC on this whole red team is Thrall's Root. So when those guys go hard on Morales like that, yeah, see, Thrall just is saying exactly what I was just going into. Is when they go hard into Morales like that, it's going to be very difficult to protect him with the tools that are on this team. See, once again, they just cocoon Cho'Gall. Now, even if Cleanse would work, Morales is too far away. So if Cho'Gall gets out of here, this is actually a really good engagement as this stands for red because of the numbers. So in order for this to be a... Yeah, it's possible. We'll have to try it. I don't know the answer to it. This is a good engagement for blue if they can kill somebody very quickly. If they don't, then Cocoon is off cooldown, and they're outnumbered and in a tough spot here. See, now blue is in trouble. Great ultimate by Cho'Gall. Nice job, Penable. Yep, I agree. This is a core call. You guys already have katas down here. I would go try to drag these katas with you. Do you have them top? Oh, you have them top too. Drag the katas top with you. Great. Now, at this level, these respawn timers are a little bit short. So, you guys probably could end it here, and you do, because it's about a minute left. But anytime you have an early core call like this, 15 minutes in, level 16, level 17 is a pretty early core call. These ones can go sideways because, look at the death timers, 11 seconds, 17 seconds. Don't be afraid to just pull back after you do a little damage on the core. It's not worth throwing on the core for, right? So this is an early game core call. You just got to be careful. I still like the call. I think it's good, but nothing wrong with backing out if things go sideways. so close. There it is. All right. Oh, the cat has finished it off. So what did we take from this game? Well, it was a fun game. Thanks to Nashable for sending it in. And I think the number one thing is in-game adjustments. That cocoon really, really hurt those guys, right? And they got caught with the same combo a couple times. So when you're in comms with your teammates in a three stack like that, try to figure out something that you're going to do to not let the other team defeat you in the same way over and over again. In this case, I think it was making sure you just had another teammate with you. We do need to find out about the cleanse cocoon thing, because if cleanse works on cocoon, that's the easy solution, right? And the other thing we learned is apparently the way to play Haunted Mines is by ignoring the objective. There we go. So I will see if I can find the replay of my chair league team earlier this week to illustrate poor positioning and why it's important, what I mentioned in the middle of that match. Second game is a gold plat team league game. It is also a 3-stack. And let me check my notes here to see if I remember. Oh, this is Analog's game, who's in chat. So I'm sure he can tell us who his 3-stack is.
Lucio coming at you.
Analog is on Malf, and then I believe the other two are Kael'thas and Raynor. Correct me if I'm wrong, please, Analog. You know, when we're doing these gold plat games, you don't see the kind of really over-the-top poor decision-making that we see when we're doing bronze, and to a lesser extent. Oh, looks like, were you in a 5-stack here? According to our little loading screen, you were in a 5-stack. So, which is great, because we have a 3-stack and a 5-stack. So, oh my goodness, that volume everywhere. So it looks like we're in a great 5-stack, which is awesome. Playing heroes in a 5-stack in Team League is the best way to play heroes. It's almost a different game than Solo Hero League. So much fun. Let me check. Well, it says both are 3-stacks in your email. So it says in your email it's a 3-stack, but the loading screen said it's a 5-stack. I'm going to operate under the assumption we're in a 5-stack here, because that's what the loading screen said. So we have the blue team, and we're going to focus on our hero Mouth. Analog here. Let's find Analog's vision. There he is. Unlock our camera and zoom out.
The battle begins in
now,
10 seconds.
We always want to analyze the comps on here anytime you start a game. As a healer in particular, you want to find out who is getting your priority healers, who's your priority as a healer, I should say. Generally speaking, the highest priority targets are your diving melee assassins, of which you have none. So in this case, the most vulnerable hero is Kael'thas, so you want to make sure you protect Kael'thas from Kerrigan. Also, with ETC and Kerrigan, if you kind of put the roots right under them as they dive, it's a nice effective way to kind of stop that advance. Excuse me. And I really like your guys' comp. Diablo with APOC in particular on Haunted Mines in those tight corridors is really good. Living Bomb into the tight spaces with 3 melee heroes, if we're counting Rhaegar, is really good. If you can set up the Sulfura Smash, if he opts to go that way, once again in those tight corridors, really good. You have Raynor and Kael'thas, so you have auto attack damage and ability damage, which is great. You have Diablo to set up the stuns, and then Kael'thas and Malf to follow up on them, so you have lockdown. Wombo combo potential. This is a really nice comp that our heroes, the good guys, Analog and company, have assembled here. On the other side of it, they have a Kerrigan who can be a pain, and then a Tychus and a Gul'dan who do a ton of damage. So both teams have really solid comps here. I would, if I were on blue team, I would be watching for that Kerrigan, because Kerrigans a lot of the time can overdive, and your team as constituted can really punish that Kerrigan. If she dives too far, Diablo stun, Kael'thas stun, Malf root. Kerrigan is not particularly durable if she's not doing the damage to proc her shields. So in my initial kind of looking at these comps from the good guys' perspective, the blue team here, I really want to watch that Kerrigan to see if she's prone to being overly aggressive and if that's something we can take advantage of.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The other thing to be aware of if there's a Kael'thas on your team is if he went Convection, and he did, you really want to keep him up for that. So if there's ever a situation where somebody has to die and you can die instead of KT, do it. I mean, you never want to die, but if you can keep KT's Convection stacks for him, not only will you be your KT player's best friend, but it'll be good for your team to not lose those stacks, because it's really crippling if KT keeps losing those stacks. He's basically getting no value out of his level 1 talent, right? Nice root. That's a really nice root. The other thing is Malf in particular. Two things to keep in mind with Malf is when I play Malf, my problem is I always forget his innervate. So make sure you know who you're going to be mana prioritizing. In this game, it's probably going to be Kael'thas. Make sure we keep him topped up. And because so much of Malf's healing is over time, you want to heal a little sooner than you would if you were like, say, Uther. You know, Uther has such high volume burst that it doesn't matter if you're late to your heals. But if you're Malf and you do it too late, you're not going to get the value out of the heal over time portion of his heals. So make sure when you use your heals, you use them a little bit earlier than you would with the more bursty healers. So always watching our mini-map. Looks like everybody's in lane. Looks like you guys might get a pick on Tychus, and that is spectacular. So let's talk about this pick in the top lane and why it's really important. Generally, you're going to have a solo laner in almost every map. And when the solo laner dies, it's a really big deal. It's a big deal because the team that loses him has to either A, rotate somebody up there, and that might mess with their rotation, or they're just losing out on a ton of soak. So two things to take from this. If you're your team's solo laner, it is so important to make sure that you're in a safe position and that you don't die. And two, if you can get the other team's solo laner, by all means do it. It's a really big deal. And in the bottom lane, we lost our solo laner, Raynar. So traded solo laners.
A fine heal there.
So on Cursed Hollow, the first tribute spawns about 2 minutes 15, 2 minutes 30 or so. And this right here is something we should have watched the mini-map for. Everybody's okay. And the other thing I want to highlight is our resource usage. So Analog, we want to make sure that you don't burn really any more mana before the objective, because you want to make sure you have enough mana when the objective pops to contribute. Same thing for Kael'thas. Really shouldn't be burning any more mana before the objective. You want to make sure that you show up to those objectives with full resources, right? You have to have your health high and your mana high, so when the objective pops, you show up on time and ready to contribute. That's a good ping, whoever did that, because is it Kerrigan is probably waiting in this bush? We just saw her go up there. So Bayonetta should be on the safe side right here. Granted, with Diablo in the neighborhood, it's probably okay. So now looking at the mini-map here, here's the gank. Kerrigan is probably behind ETC. There we go. Oh, that's a bummer. So you guys are in comms right now, right? We're assuming we're on a 5 stack. So what we want to communicate to each other is that they're roaming for picks. ETC and Kerrigan are roaming for picks. And so as a collective team, you guys should be reporting on the whereabouts. And this is one of the cool things about being at a 5 stack is that, great, you had comms. So what you want to be doing in comms in a situation like this is, let's say Analog is right here in the mid lane. Of course, you always want to be watching your mini-map. However, in a 5 stack, you guys can help. If there's players who are maybe not as good as translating the mini-map than others, you guys can help each other with that. So in this middle leg, Analog was here, and ETC and Kerrigan were here in the middle leg with you. So you back up, you're playing safely, and then they disappear. You need to be telling your team, ETC and Kerrigan are missing, and that should trigger your whole team to back up a little bit because that roving gank squad is gone. So communicate missing players to your teammates when you're on comms. That's a really good way to keep tabs on the enemy team. It also helps you develop good habits as a player when you're actively communicating that with them. And furthermore, if your team is, if your opposition is roaming for ganks and you as a team communicate well enough to deprive them of their ganks, that means they're running around the map not getting any value. So it's actually hurting the enemy team because they're not accomplishing what they want to get. Great kill on ETC. This should allow you guys to get this tribute, especially because Kerrigan is so low. Let's see, is Raynor is coming? Okay, good. So KT, be very careful here. So Raynor is staying down here. I assume you guys told him to stay down there. See, this is one of those differences between Team League and Hero League, right? You guys are on comms. Raynor, stay down there. We're fine. So that means you guys have a 4-on-4 until ETC gets here. So if he gets here before Raynor does, you guys need to pull the plug on it and just let it go. Oh, nice heal. Barely keeping Rag up. And I think now is the retreat button. Yeah. The decision to keep Raynor in the bottom lane is not a bad one, especially with ETC dead. It didn't turn out great because you guys had the deaths and lost the tribute, but especially on the first tribute, it's really not the end of the world. See, once again, look, we're to the mini-map. There's no ETC and no Kerrigan. So that's their gank squad that they've been roaming. So that's what you guys should be communicating to each other right now. And somebody pinged the vision, which is fantastic because that means they just took the vision. Kael'thas probably shouldn't be the one to get the vision. It should be one of the beefier characters.
Gather tribute or face make.
Here's the gank squad. Now this is kind of the situation I brought up earlier. Kael'thas's convection stacks are not done. If Malf can sacrifice himself to keep KT up, not a bad idea to keep those convection stacks up. So just something to keep in mind when you have a Kael'thas on your team. Not that you need it, he got out okay. But if it was going to happen, that's not a bad idea. Okay. With a Malf and a Kael'thas, you want to rotate the back way, this way. Because right now you're rotating right into their whole team and you're going to have a Tychus coming down on you. A lot of stuns here. I would rotate the safe way. You can have Raynor meet you down here if you want. Or you guys wait for Diablo. That's awesome too. Oh no, Kael'thas! Nice pick on the Tychus. Kael'thas almost got caught, and the reason that he almost got caught is because you guys split. Mouth went up with the tanks to get the Tychus, and Kael'thas went to that tight corridor by himself. We're going to back up a little bit here, and we're going to talk about stutter stepping. So stutter stepping is one of those things that doesn't seem like a big deal, but it kind of is. And our Raynor here, I think, might have been able to stay alive or at least do more work if he stutter steps. So let's keep an eye on Raynor right here. So Kerrigan's going to come in on the Raynor. See, standing his ground and shooting. Raynor is probably the best hero to learn how to stutter step on. If you go on to Kyle Ferguson's YouTube page, he has a nice video where he teaches his wife how to stutter step. It's really good. And Bakery just put out a nice video on stutter stepping too. But basically what stutter stepping is you want to move between your auto attacks, and you want to do it in such a way that you're not losing damage. So, excuse me, auto attack, move, auto attack, move, auto attack, move. So we want to see Raynor moving between auto attacks. Even in something like here, where it doesn't seem like it's a big deal right now, you just want to develop the habit of it so it becomes second nature. You want to do it without thinking about it. Me personally, I'm actually struggling not stutter stepping on heroes where you don't want to do it. Like Zarya, for example, she can't really stutter step very well, or even Tassadar. Those heroes where you don't want to stutter step are my issues right now, but you really want to develop that stutter stepping habit. And when Kerrigan jumps in on Raynor here, you're going to see why. Stutter stepping heroes are much more difficult to hit with skill shots. Also, whenever you have a Kerrigan on the opposing team, if you want to dodge her combo, you don't dodge it away from her, you dodge it to the side, one way or the other. So right, okay, here's Kerrigan. So Kerrigan goes in on a completely immobile target, and this is, so let's imagine this encounter going if Raynor was moving while he was shooting instead of just standing there. Probably would have died anyway, but maybe he lives a little longer, maybe he gets a little more damage on the Kerrigan, right? ETC is right there, nice job. And this is the proper person to channel, by the way, too. Usually it's best for the healer to channel. That way you get your damage dealers and your tanks out here creating a zone, which is exactly what they're doing. This is perfect right here. Creating a zone that allows the healer to safely channel. Always exceptions to the rules, of course, but generally speaking, you want the hero or the healer to channel while the tanks and the damage zone away for him.
Well done. Let us press on.
So this is something you want to work on. If these are people you play with regularly too, is work out with your Diablo. This is a really nice initiation for Diablo. Okay, great stun. So now you're trying, I'm not sure if you were trying to use the lawn, Mouth's Root here as a zone, or if you were trying to do a follow-up CC onto the Tychus. So if we're trying to do a follow-up CC, work it out with Diablo ahead of time. I'm going to charge, then flip. So you know when he charges somebody like this, you're actually putting the root behind him. Because if we were trying to do a follow-up CC on the stun here, we missed because of a little miscommunication. Right? And this is stuff that's easier to do in Team League, on comms, with people you play with regularly. And the Entangling Roots is one of those abilities, kind of like Jaina's Blizzard, where the cooldown is so high, it really feels bad when you don't get value out of that spell because it's such a long time before you use it again. So really make sure that we're not just throwing the lawn out there. Make sure we're using it to get value. We're looking at the mini-map here. This is a very dangerous situation with nobody visible. So be aware when everybody is missing like that, especially when they have a stun lock combo, right? The ETC and the Kerrigan. And I like what you're doing. You're really hugging the wall. That's perfect. Don't go too much in this corner, though, because then if they catch you, you can't run behind the gate.
Shall we see who gathers enough tribute this time?
So when we rotate down here, if as a backliner, in this case Kael'thas or Malfurion, if you're the first person to attribute, don't run down here and face check stuff, because you are not the person to find the opposition team. That's your tanks and your frontliners' job. So if you're there first, just be patient and wait for them. I like the path that you're taking and you're waiting for the tanks, right? Now the other thing to keep aware of is this team is really close to hitting 10. You do not want to fight them before you have 10 when they have it. And also your rag is up here. Maybe you guys are choosing to let this one go and soak 10. But if that's the case, you want to be very careful about engaging. Okay, so this is very interesting positioning by you guys, and I would be curious about the conversation. I assume you guys opted to leave, rag in the top here, get some push. But now you're positioning yourself like you're going to fight, and the whole other team is probably down here, and they're going to hit 10 like any second now. You guys should really want kind of no part in this engagement. It's really set up for you guys to be at a bad disadvantage if they hit 10 right as it starts, which, I mean, they're gonna do it. Because basically, okay, now Tychus is showing, this makes us a little different. This makes it a 4-on-4, but even still, 10 is picked up, this should be a hard retreat. Great, perfect, perfect. Oh, excuse me. Oh, no. Oh, that's well played by Kerrigan and ETC there. Okay, so let's take a look at the map. 5 are showing. They're probably going to put pressure bottom, and there's nothing that you guys can do about it. And I like what you're doing. Both Rag should be able to push Tychus around a little. As long as they're showing all 5 here, you can put pressure somewhere else. But the second these guys leave, specifically ETC and Kerrigan, you have to get out. And there can be no hesitation. Okay, now they've left. And you guys need to be very careful. They're probably going to do your boss. However, they could easily be rotating around the backside of you. Right? So they just left bottom. They're full team. And you guys are really far forward. I said they're probably doing your boss, but they could be easily going for you two right here. That's not a bad idea, Analog, at all. I don't think you guys can really contest this before Raynor is here, so be very careful. Don't face check the bush. A lot of times, like I know when we do the boss, we'll put somebody here in this bush, so be very careful about face checking the bush. And especially when you and Diablo are coming from different directions, make sure you're not walking into all the enemy team's damage. Even though it's only 1, that's not a bad Twilight Dream at all. Well played, well played. Get that ETC. Nice job, nice job.
I grow tired of your petty squabbling. Gather tribute.
What I would like to see, if we're shot calling here, if they're showing up in bottom, I want a boss and a trib right here. Both. You guys should all run up here, grab the boss and the trib at the same time. See, they have 1 dead, and they have 2 more showing. So that's 3 people accounted for. I think it was Tychus was up here, but he's going to be leaving. He would be foolish not to. If you guys get on the boss right away, you have time. You have to do it right away, though. Okay, see, this probably, the Diablo hesitation is probably going to leave you guys in a really tight squeeze here. Yep, now I think it's too late. Too late. I think that was a little bit of a missed opportunity there. If you guys would have done that decisively, you could have gotten both. So this is interesting up here. These two have kind of been squaring off the whole game. Eventually, Rag is going to win this. However, he went Sulphurous Smash, and he's going to get the most value out of that in the context of a team fight with all these roots that you guys have here. So make sure you want to bring Rag down to get that Sulphurous Smash. I think it does a ton of damage.
Thank you, hero.
Shall we see who gathers enough tribute?
Okay, so this is kind of a rocky spot for you guys. The advantage that you have is 3 of them are top. The only way that you guys get this tribute is maybe if Diablo harasses these guys enough to where they can't get down here in time, while the 4 of you collapse, or 3 of you, because Rag is dead, collapse on it. But Diablo would almost certainly die. So I would like the call here, if Diablo has souls especially, tell him to try to cut these 3 off here and keep them from mounting up. Keep them from rotating away. Even if he dies, that leaves you guys a 3-on-2 at tribute point for both teams. Maybe you get this. But it would have to be fast, though. See, this looks like you guys aren't on the same page. Oh, no, maybe he's doing it. Perfect, nice. Oh, I really like that. You want to dismount them. Oh, no, Magoo, get in here. I wanted to see a W to dismount those guys, because they're only going to get there in time if they're mounted. So dismount them. Do any kind of damage to get them off their mounts. Because you guys don't want to fight them full team to team, right? If you fight them full team to team, you lose. Yep. And I think the opportunity is lost now. That's a good Twilight Dream, but... So this, I think, was a mistake in shot calling. The decision to fight here without Rag in a full team setting was, I mean, kind of a recipe for disaster a little bit. Diablo started to do it up here. I really thought he was going to do it. I was going to be super jazzed. If he would have maybe dismounted them up here, harassed them, and Diablo just does a little 1-on-3 up here, he's probably going to die. But that was really the only situation I think that you guys were going to get this tribute. You never want to fight 5-on-4, even for a curse like that, because they got it anyway, and now there's 3 of you dead, so...
My curse upon you.
This is where Ragnaros' Molten Core can really get a ton of value, though. He really stalls out aggressive defense. Oh, Diablo, no. Poor Diablo.
Your fort has been destroyed.
Once again, keep in mind, with the fort shut down, this is not a safe haven. This is just the same thing as being out in the open. So when you have an ETC and a Kerrigan here, especially if she took her range, which she didn't, but just be aware of getting caught out there, so don't get too close. Like Raynor did there. That's exactly why. And here's the thing, right, is even if you and Raynor played out of your minds, you're not going to stop 3 of them as just the 2 of you. It's just one of those things where sometimes the best thing is to not do anything. Oh, he has... What a great play by ETC. That was a really nice play. He has the crowd surfer to go over terrain.
My curse subside.
There's something we can learn from that too, is, and I don't do this as much as I should, but there's situations like that that remind us why this is important. And that's when you have downtime, which is really only when you're dead mostly, make it productive. So either watch the minimap for your team or flip up the talents and see if there's something unusual on the other team that maybe they're not prepared for. Like crowd surfer on ETC. Most ETCs wouldn't be able to do that, but he took that level 4 crowd surfer, and it just, if you would have had that in your head that he had that, you wouldn't have been so far away, right? And most people are going to get caught out. I would have gotten caught out there because I don't check those talents as much as I should, but just something to keep in the back of your head. Be aware of those kind of talents that can change up what a hero does, like Holy Ground on Tyrael, right? You have to know if Tyrael takes Holy Ground. So try to be aware of some of those talents that can just fundamentally change what a hero does. In this case, crowd surfer on ETC.
Fear not. I have returned.
So we don't want to fight down 3 levels. So the move for your team right here is the next time you guys are going to want to fight is probably right before the other team gets to 20, hopefully. I don't think you guys can contest this. One, Raynor's not going to be up there in time. And if you get 14 first, maybe, but I think it's going to be too late. So now you're same talent tier. If you're going to take a fight, this is when you want to do it. So that was actually an excellent example of what I mentioned earlier on Kerrigan. So when you're running from Kerrigan, right, we juke to the side. If you would have moved down this way instead of forward, you wouldn't have gotten hit by your combo. So that's how you dodge the Kerrigan combos, to the side, not forward and back. I mean, you probably would have been killed anyway, just that was a rough spot for you guys, but something to be aware of. That's a really nice kill onto ETC by and Tychus. That's actually a nice turn there for you guys. That's a pretty big deal. But now you need to focus on burning this boss down. That's actually a really big deal. Without Tychus and ETC, you guys probably prevented them from doing this other boss or getting this keep. They would have probably done one or the other if they had their full team on. So this is your window right here. Once you guys get 16, before they get 20, that's your time to take a team fight, because you don't want to fight them once they get 20, right? So you need to get 16, and then you want to fight them before they get to 20. With Kerrigan and an ETC being this far forward within enemy vision, because the minion is right here, is very dangerous with nobody showing on the enemy team. And let's look at this from the red team perspective. Nobody is showing on red team, so we actually have no idea where they're at. Now, if we're a red team, our thought process is the opposite of what I just said. We said blue team wants to get 16 and then fight before red team gets to 20. The red team is thinking we want to fight them before they get to 16. So this is an excellent opportunity for an invasion here. If I'm shot calling on red team, especially with Malf showing top, because Malf showed top because he just cleared the mercs, right? I am calling for this merc camp if I'm red team right now. Rag is showing mid, Malf is showing top. We sneak all 5 through here and invade 17-15. Look, look, look. There it is. So how can you guys get this tribute? It's the same thing happened earlier. Not Kael'thas, but Diablo. Clog this up. Keep them from rotating. Because if Diablo stays here and clogs this up, uses the APOC, they either have to fight their way through him, or they have to go all the way around. So even though the Rainer pick is kind of a big deal, the fact that this tribute is spawning in the top lane and the whole enemy team is right here, you guys can get this tribute if Diablo stands in here and clogs up this hallway right here. If he doesn't, then you guys can't get it. That's such a great route, Analog. That's a great route. So Diablo kind of did it. I would have preferred him to do it down here, but that was such a great zoning route that allowed your team to get that tribute. Now, though, you guys need to run.
We are in agreement.
Oh, Sulfurous Smash. 2 misses. That's so heartbreaking. Great route again, Analog. You probably saved Rag's life there with that route. Really good value the last few minutes in this game. So nice team play here. Now, this is your opportunity. Once Diablo is up, this is your chance to team fight once again. Level 16 to level 18. Of course, they're 2 levels up, but it's the same talent tier. You don't want to let them get to 20. So this is your chance for an engagement. You want to try to find a favorable engagement. Once again, we're going to try... Okay, now it's probably safe to do boss. As soon as Gul'dan showed, it's safe to do boss. If he didn't show, it would be a very risky boss call.
A testament to my...
But you saw him coming down, so they're probably coming down here to contest, right? Yeah, so they're here. So you don't want to fight with an aggroed boss. We want to fight them, right? We just said we want to fight them, especially because Gul'dan is in the top lane now. We want this engagement. Absolutely, we want this engagement. So hopefully everybody's on their way, and you guys can fight in an advantage right here. Gul'dan's still top. You guys want this. This is a 5-on-4. Hopefully the other team is foolish enough. Get that ETC. Nice interrupt by Diablo. Great flip. This is what you guys wanted and needed right here. Gul'dan was top, same talent tier. Great engagement. Great interrupt by Diablo. Oh, so close. What a fierce. You guys are still winning this. Get in there, wreck. Oh, that Kerrigan is so dead. Oh, that's brutal. So that's one of those cases where chasing didn't work out. If Rainer would have just walked away, you guys would have had a nice 3v2 team win. Instead, you get a 3v3 draw. This is not the end of the world. It's not bad. It could be worse.
As it should be.
What went wrong there was you guys kind of got split by this terrain here, and you had Kael'thas down here without really anybody to keep an eye on him because both of the frontliners were up here. That's why Kael'thas got melted down there on the bottom. But still, even though you guys have been losing this game, I mean 22 kills to 11 doesn't look good. If we take stock of where we're at now, all of your keeps are up. Same talent tier. So, while not where you want to be, it is winnable. Oh! Oh, man. Oh, I really wish Diablo would have tried to peel for you there. It may not have made a difference. But if he has souls... Let's see. Let's check Diablo. Okay, he doesn't. Does he? Where are his souls? Well, either way, if Diablo had his souls there, as a Diablo player, you want to... Where's our mouth? That's weird. Oh, it's because he's dead, I think. Either way, as a Diablo player, if you have souls and you can trade, especially at the end, I mean, the 45-second cooldown is huge. If you can trade your life to save one of your teammates and then pop right back up, that's a good trade. You guys probably can't defend this 5-on-4, so better to simply leave. Especially because Kael'thas is kind of isolated up here by himself, and blue team has no healer. This is not an engagement that you really want to take. This should be a team wipe end game. Great Sulfura smash by Rag, though. He really did a lot of damage on the way out.
Gather tribute or face my curse. The choice.
So it looks like they're probably going to do boss and try to end. You guys will have 3 people to try to defend. Maybe enough. And Bayonetta make sure he hurts back right away. You guys kind of don't want to do anything until Kael'thas is back here. You don't really have a lot of poke damage, and if you step in front of the wall, you know Kerrigan and ETC are going to punish you. And remember, you got to be. We already learned the hard way once. Keep aware of that crowd surfer by ETC, the diving through terrain. I like the patience by Diablo and Analog here, waiting. And actually, 6 seconds till the full team is up. I would like you guys to wait even longer. I mean, 6 seconds. This is going to be your Alamo. This is going to be your last stand. Make a last stand as 5. You know, much better to fight as 5 than 3, of course. So I would like to see you guys wait another 6 seconds. Obviously, KT can throw his spells in there safely, but don't. Yeah, good decision making. Good patience right there. Good job by Rag to take that building. Nice. Nice Pyroblast on Kerrigan. Almost got her, but not quite. The Pyroblast not killing Kerrigan was a level difference thing, by the way. If you guys were even level, that would have killed Kerrigan. See, this is a split focus problem. You guys all want to be back here burning the boss and under the core defense, because this is kind of a 5-on-2 here with Diablo and Rag being so far forward. And that's a great fear by Gul'dan. And see, the forward positioning of these two allowed them to be isolated by the fear. That should be game.
The choice is simple.
I do not know why Red is leaving. I hope they're going to turn around and go core. When you're at level this late in the game, there's no reason not to be on core right here. Yeah, here they come. Okay. I was going to say, if they didn't end right there, that's a gift. I mean, Analog's doing what he can, but at this point, the game is really over. Nice Twilight Dream and desperation there. Considering it was just the 2 of you, you guys actually put out a pretty good, pretty nice amount of damage there. Raynor flying through the air. So I think the number one thing there was, I think decision making again. There were a couple of engagements that you guys just probably shouldn't have taken due to the circumstances in the game. You know, you don't really ever want to fight outnumbered. You don't really ever want to fight down a talent tier. The only time you want to fight in those situations is if the game will absolutely end because of it. If the game isn't going to end, don't fight in those situations because the chances of success are so slim. And if you fail, you're giving up whatever you're contesting anyway, and it makes it even worse than just not contesting it in the first place, right? So really, put a microscope on those engagements that you're taking, and just try to avoid taking them at a disadvantage, especially in the context of a 5-stack. You can, talk about when you want to give it up and what you want to do instead. I'm going to see real quick, since I think I have time, if I can find the game from 2 weeks ago. Or where we had such a great example. My chair league team had just such a perfect example of why it's important to position properly in shrines and stuff. Okay, here it is. So in that first game, I highlighted a point where they were taking merc camps, and Morales was on the aggressive side of the merc camp. So anytime you're doing objectives or merc camps, you always want to have the tanks, the front line, in the aggressive position, and you want to have the squishy heroes, the back line, in the passive position. Because if the enemy team decides to invade, you want them to hit your tanks first. So this is my chair league game from 2 weeks ago that we lost, and I was going over this game to try to figure out things we could do better, and there was one point in this game that is such a perfect illustration of why positioning on objectives is important, and it stuck out in my head a lot. So we're going to look at that, and so I can, it's such a perfect illustration. I got to make a GIF or a cut out of it because it just so perfectly illustrates why it's important. After the stream, I am going to be casting a chair league game at 7:20. So feel, I think it's right here. Stop. I think it's right here coming up. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's right here. So we're fighting over the first shrine. I'm going to turn the volume down. And we drive them away, and the other team opts to re-engage. And let me see if I'm pretty sure it's right here. Or maybe it's later in the game. Hold on. No, it's later in the game. Okay, later in the game. So anyway, if you... Oh, I lied. I think it is right here. Okay. Let's see. Is it right here? Okay, so here's the perfect example of why positioning is important. We're at 32. We've driven them out of the objective, but they're still around. And let's look at Kael'thas and Diablo. These guys should be switched. If we're looking at this from the perspective of the blue team, you did, Nashable, we did it first. If you're looking at this team fight from the perspective of the blue team, the person they want to get on is Kael'thas, right? That's their priority target. That's why they want, that's who they want to blow up. So by positioning Kael'thas here and Diablo in the back, we're just handing them Kael'thas on a platter, right? Kael'thas should never be in a position to where he is the first person to encounter the enemy team. You don't want to let the enemy team engage onto Kael'thas. So this right here is the perfect example of why positioning on objectives and merc camps is so important, because the same thing can apply to merc camps, right? So I'm going to press play in a second and we'll see exactly what happens, and it's exactly what you think would happen. But if Diablo were down here and Kael'thas were up front, this team fight could have gone a completely different direction. right? And there's the initiation, right onto Kael'thas. Right? And that just allows everyone to go after him. He doesn't end up dying. Actually, Diablo ends up dying. But that would have gone a lot smoother had our tank been in the position here. Because rather than DK on Kael'thas having to run away, he would have been back here able to throw damage onto the blue team as they try to initiate. So anyway, I just thought that was such a great point in a game to illustrate that kind of positioning topic that comes up when we watch these replays from time to time. So thanks for hanging out, guys. Those of you who submitted the replays, I will send you the YouTube link probably tomorrow. I'll be back on stream here in about 20 minutes or so for a Division 1 Chair League game. Those guys at Division 1 are usually pretty good, so if you want to work on your team league shot calling, catching some high-level amateur play can certainly be a way to do it. So if you want to watch some Chair League, come back in about 20 minutes. We'll be on. And thanks for hanging out, guys. Catch you later. Have a nice evening.